The media is like a carnival of loud voices, all barking about their big ideas. It's time to shut off the big ideas and get some big results. And this lady knows how to get results. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. We are so blessed that you decided to join us today. And I know that today really is going to be a blessing for you. What a great thing for you and I to do, to get together, put on the right mindset every single day to make sure that we're heading towards our goals, whatever those goals may be. You've got goals. I've got goals. Your goals might include a big old house. My goals might include building 1,000 houses for 1,000 poor people or 1,000 poor families. Your goals might include a new car, or your goals might include paying off your family's debt or paying off even your grandparents' debt. Whatever they are, you've got some goals. You've got a purpose. You've got something in mind that you must achieve. And you cannot allow our society's definition of success to impede your goals. Sometimes we can follow other people's dreams. And those dreams, they're somebody else's dreams when they're not our dreams, somehow can get us so completely off track, and then decades fly by and we're like, wait a second, I didn't want this. So that's why here on the Dani Johnson Show, we redefine success every single day, and we help you to define it for you. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You were put together with all the right parts. You were designed with a purpose. You were designed also with an owner's manual, and that is between you and your maker who knows you through and faceted you with everything that was necessary for the plan and the purpose that is set before you. And you don't want to get distracted with what society is telling us, but you've got to define it for you. You've got to figure that one out on your own. And we're here to help you figure that out. You're going to have your own revelations. Well, today we're going to be talking about money, and we're going to talk about success and business. You know, Sam Walton has a quote that I feel is important to share with you. He said, "Ignore the conventional wisdom. If everybody else is doing it one way, there's a good chance you can find your niche by going in the opposite direction." I heard something similar to that about 27 years ago when I first started in business. And mind you, I didn't come from a family of business people. I came from a family of welfare, drugs, violence, every form of abuse you could imagine. There was not success anywhere near me. And so to me, success at that time was, if I could just marry a guy that doesn't beat me or my children, I'm good. To me, that was going to be successful. I then was introduced, and yes, I think that, well, I don't think that's very successful because a guy that doesn't beat you or your kids is not success. That's just somewhat safe. It doesn't mean that that's a prosperous marriage. It doesn't mean that that's a good relationship. It doesn't mean that it's harmonious or peaceful or passionate. It just means that you're not being beaten. You could be verbally beaten, emotionally beaten, spiritually beaten, even financially beaten. But, you know, I didn't have a very strong definition of what I thought success was. But I was introduced to some entrepreneurs. And those entrepreneurs challenged me to think. And one of the first things that I heard was find out what everybody else is doing and do the exact opposite. Why? 98% of the population is either dead or dead broke at the age of 65, dependent on their family, friends, and federal government for their main source of income. Think about that. 98% of the population will either be dead or dead broke at the age of 65, dependent on somebody else for their main source of income. I know you don't want that to be you. When I heard that, I was 19 years old, and I said, I don't want that to be me. One of the ways they said is to ensure that you won't end up as a 98%er is to find out what everybody else is doing and do the opposite. How is everybody else dealing with business? How is everybody else dealing with finances? How is everybody else dealing with their families? If you want to have a greater rate of success, you pretty much can go in the opposite direction. I mean, everyone else. I'm not talking about the few that have great success. You want to find out what they're doing and learn from them. Ask them questions. Humble yourself. So I have a question for you. Do you believe that success is possible for anybody? Do you believe that success in business is possible for anybody? Or do you believe that it's just these certain people that are special? I used to believe that. I used to believe that, you know, hey, the good-looking people, the smart people, the people with the college degree from UCLA or Stanford or Harvard or Cambridge, you know, those people are definitely going to succeed. But guess what? Statistics have shown that none of that is a factor in success. Oh, no, none of it at all. Come on, there's millionaires and billionaires who didn't even finish high school. I'm certainly not for you not finishing high school if you're watching this program and you're still in high school. No, I think that's important to do that. But what I am saying is that education straight across the board does not determine whether or not you become successful. We have a large population in the country that we live in that are educated, yet They're not necessarily successful. So I would like to know from you, do you believe that anyone can succeed? Do you believe that successful people somehow are different? And if they are different, what is the difference? Joining me on line one is Roger Potter from Cookston, Maryland. No, Michigan. No, Minnesota.
That's okay.
I've been there. That's hilarious. I think I learned those abbreviations in the third grade. I usually am pretty good at it. Hey, Roger, welcome to the show. So what about you? Do you think that successful people, there's something different about them? Was it because of where they were born? You know, where they went to high school or college, or how wonderful their parents were? Or do you think it has something to do with something different than that?
I think it's a combination of mindset, attitude, determination, and finding your passion. I look at people in business as two different types: entrepreneurs and business people. They are not the same. Mm-hmm. Entrepreneurs have a very strong attitude. They know who they are, and they won't let anybody or anything keep them from doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
Business people do not have much of an attitude. Some don't know who they are, and their determination is ruled by society.
That's so
if
true.
Society says don't do it, they don't want to do it. But the real successful people, the entrepreneurs that forge ahead, they don't care what society tells them. They say, I'm going to do this, and if you don't like it, too bad, and it becomes successful.
Yep. Okay, there's two things I want to challenge you on. Actually, I agree with almost everything that you said, but there's one thing that I don't agree with, and then the other I want, you made me go, dang, that's so true. And here's what it was. Business people and entrepreneurs, like business people, you said, they actually quit more than entrepreneurs will.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's like, okay, so they're a business person. They're working for a business or whatever. And maybe they own the business, maybe they work for the business. But usually if someone is not an entrepreneur and they're a business person, they're in that business person category, they don't have as much of a steadfastness, a stick-to-itiveness, and persistence and endurance as a true entrepreneur does. As soon as things get a little tough, as soon as there's a struggle, as soon as things are going a little squirrely, and it's like, I'm out. But an entrepreneur, you're right. I've been studying successful people for 27 years, and I can tell you that the true entrepreneurs are steadfast. They are absolutely steadfast, and they don't care about what other people think about them. They don't care about other people approving of them. They don't set up their entire life to gain recognition from somebody. They've got a goal, they've got a passion, they've got something that they're driven by, and they're going to go after it. I agree with that. Now, let me tell you the place where I challenge you. Roger, you may not know this, but I was a homeless woman 24 years ago this past December. So I'm going on 25 years. So if somebody would have told me to find my passion and I would succeed, I would still be homeless. My passion when I was homeless was to find my husband. And to string him up by his toes. My passion and the thing I thought about all the time was how I wanted to hurt him so very badly for leaving me with $2.03 to my name and a $35,000 debt.
Yeah.
My next passion was to find that millionaire who I had invested about $25,000 into learning from his training seminars. And he ripped me off. He completely embezzled my business, which is actually why I ended up homeless. Because if my business had not been embezzled, yes, I would have had a bank drink account, but I would have had another still income coming in. Yes, I would have had the $35,000 in debt due to the relationship with my husband, but I still would have had an income coming in. Had that millionaire who showed himself to be a man of integrity and high ethics and all this junk that he wasn't, he stole from me. Good thing about the end of that story, by the way, is a few years later, the government shut the man down. There was a class action suit. I wasn't the only one that he embezzled. So he got shut down and he can't do any business in the United States or in Canada ever again so long as he lives. So now he's a nobody doing nothing. But my point is that if you would have told me to chase my passion, to find my passion, to work in my passion, and I would never work another day in my life, I'd still be homeless. I still would be homeless. Yep.
There's one other thing that you also said, is listening to you, that I agree with. In fact, it was written into a book. He said even some successfully educated people do not make it. And I believe the book was A Millionaire Mind of the Millionaire Next Door, written by Thomas Stanley, PhD.
Yeah, it was A Millionaire Next Door.
Survey of people that had done the SAT score, the SAT test. And he found out that everybody that scored 900 and less became millionaires. Everybody that scored 1,400 and above became billionaires. Everybody that got into college, got their bachelor's or master's, didn't do anything appreciably except got good paying jobs, and you never heard from them again.
Wow. So true.
And since I would have scored below 900 on the SAT, I'm in pretty good company.
Well, check this out, Roger. What about me, who never took the SAT?
I never did either. I was in the B section in high school.
Yeah.
And the B section in high school. Well, I'm older than you are, even though I don't sound it. And I was in the B section in high school, and we were only, in fact, they hoped that we would graduate and get a halfway decent job.
Wow.
The A section was the golden kid.
Wow.
They were given the best teachers. They were given the best of everything. And none of them really, when they're my high school classmates, I mean, a couple of them got a PhD, but I don't even know how rich or successful they are.
Yep.
They're not starting businesses.
Yep.
And then I look at others that scored with me, and hey, they're doing pretty good.
Yep.
And with me, I'm retired. I'm 68, and I'm taking a final test to become a personal trainer for senior citizens because I'm a senior.
Nice. Now that is a niche, dude. That's a really good idea. I think that's going to work. Man, there's an entire group. I mean, there's millions of senior citizens on the planet right now, and they still feel young, and they don't need to just sit back and die. They need to stay active. I think you're onto something. I think there needs to be a fitness guru for senior citizens. You're so onto something. That's a really brilliant idea. Anyway, so there we go. So passion, finding your passion. No, you can't wait to find your passion. Again, you say that to the wrong person, and I would have ended up in prison because I wanted to murder somebody for stealing from me. No, you don't need to find your passion in order to become successful. This is Dani Johnson, redefining success, with you when we continue.
If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do with your life? Discover your own answer right here. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
You know, you just gotta believe in yourself. That's all. But what if you don't believe in yourself? Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Today we are talking about, well, what does it really actually take to succeed? And I'm not talking about the status quo definition of success, because success is different for everybody. It really is. For some of us, it's being a stay-at-home parent and really grooming our kids for success. For others of us, it's traveling around the world, learning different languages and helping the poor. For some of the rest of us, it is about becoming financially independent, paying off debt, and helping other people do the same. There's so many different definitions of success, and you have got to define what success is for you. Otherwise, you're going to follow somebody else's dream, and following somebody else's dream is only going to end up in frustration and ruin, and you'll end up forsaking the one that you are called to. You'll end up forsaking the very purpose that you were designed for when you were planted in your mama's womb. As you were knitted together with all of your DNA, there was a purpose assigned to you. And only you can live that purpose out. So we're talking about today, how? What does it really take? Is it successful people are only a certain breed and that the rest of us are just a bunch of numbskulls that were born on the wrong side of the tracks with jacked up parents who beat each other all the time? That's how I was. But it doesn't determine whether you'll be successful or if you'll fail. How you were brought up, Really, in the grand scope of things, they have found studies have proven that it really doesn't matter. But let me give you one short tip today. One thing that I learned 27 years ago, been practicing that thing for 27 years, is to find a need and fill it. Yeah, that's how people become successful, is finding needs that others have and you being able to fill it. It's not that maybe you have something specifically that can fill their need, but perhaps you might know someone else that can help to fill that need, and therefore you are helping to fill that need. Even right now, while you're sitting at work and you're listening to today's program, I want you to think about, what is the needs of my coworkers? What is the need of my boss? Or if you're the owner, what is the need of my people? What is the need of our staff? What is the need of the guy that's in the warehouse? What is the need of the woman who's answering the phone, or the guy that's answering the phone? What is the need of the person who cleans our office? Find out what the needs are of those that are around you, and then extend it beyond that. If you're not helping to fill needs that are right here locally or in your own personal center of influence, then you can't possibly do a great job of filling the needs of the prospects that are outside of your business that you're trying to lure into your business. If all you're doing is filling the needs to the prospects, but you're not filling the needs of those that are within your ranks, within your personal influence that you work with daily, well, then you're called a hypocrite. Now let's take it to the house. What is the need of your spouse? What is the need of the children? What is the need of those that you go to church with? And how can you fill those needs? So I have found this to be very effective. Now, obviously, I can't fill every need of every single person, and neither can you. You'll kill yourself trying. But you certainly can make a difference each and every day by simply asking yourself that question and acting upon it. I know this, people need encouragement. They need to be appreciated. That's one need that you can fill today. Even if all you do is you grab, your Post-its, and you just start writing encouraging words on that, and you kind of spread them throughout your office. I promise you, you're going to reap what you sow. But hey, how do you feel, or what does it actually take in order to become successful? If you have any measure of success at all, and again, success is different for everybody, I want to know what you think it actually takes in order for success to happen in your life. And by the way, success doesn't fall out of the sky. It takes hard work. It takes determination. It takes major discipline. It takes self-control to stay focused and not get distracted with other things. Joining me right now is Joe Khalifa from West Hope, North Dakota. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. So what do you have to say about what it actually takes to succeed?
Well, I think it takes that strong, true belief in ourselves. And also, when you were mentioning needs and looking out for other people's needs, I think the reason that I'm successful in my business is because I had a need, and I needed to fulfill the lives of other people, and then I had to figure out how I was going to do that. Mm-hmm. But I know there were a lot of roadblocks and obstacles, and in trying to figure that out, how I was going to get around them and how I was going to get to the end result of helping other people and benefiting humanity. That's how I got to where I am today. And I think for entrepreneurs, I think everything is impossible. And people talk about having that passion and that desire, and it's hard to define that. But I think with people like you and like myself and other entrepreneurs and successful people in business, there's this innate pull that comes from within us that drives us to where we're going and keeps us going. We might hit a bump in the road, and it's like, we got a flat tire. How are we going to get past this? Some people will walk away from the car. Other people will get out and put the tire on.
Exactly. And wait, don't forget about that third person who whines, whimpers, cries, gets on Facebook, talks about it, complains, criticizes the tire company, criticizes the road, wants to sue somebody. Don't forget about those people. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Do you know what's been holding you back? The way you think. It's time to take on a whole new mindset. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
I'm so blessed that I found what is in Grooming the Next Generation for Success. This is a book that is being taught in universities around the world. It's been noted as the best book on parenting that has ever been written. Crazy, if you ask me. But the point is that this thing gets results. Get your copy today, 888-757-8880. Again, that's 888-757-8880. Or go to DaniJohnson.com. That's DANI Johnson.com. Get your copy today.
This is the Dani Johnson Show.
You know, we've heard that entrepreneurs have said that in order to be successful as an entrepreneur, that you've got to believe in yourself. That's exactly what Joe Khalifa had said. She's called in from West Hope, North Dakota, and she believes that that was one of the reasons why she's become successful as an entrepreneur. But I want to ask Joe a question. Joe, what do you say to the person that does not believe in themselves? Because I didn't believe in myself at all. Not even a little bit did I believe in myself.
I think it takes the right set of circumstances in a lot of people's interactions. There are some people that, and I'm sure you've run into them as well, that no matter how much they talk or how much they want to interact with you, they aren't even going to faze you. And then you run into that one person that sparks a light, that puts a twinkle in your eye, and that's when you start to open up. It has to be, I think, on a very positive, constructive level. You can't just go tell somebody, believe in yourself, God will get you here, and, you know, you got to have this belief in this greater power. I think when you approach somebody like that, you need to be very careful and very delicate with their situation, because a lot of times they feel attacked.
Yeah.
They feel like everything is fruitless, and nothing that you say is going to make
any bit of a difference. Actually, they just need to be loved and they need to be encouraged. But Joe, I want to go here for just a minute on the belief in self, because here's where I came from was I believed I was a failure. I believed I knew I could fail. And it was from a failure equation that I actually got started in business at the age of 19. Wasn't because I knew I could succeed. It was because I knew I could fail. The man that raised me told me I was a failure, like weekly, probably daily, you know, and what a stupid blankety blank that I was. And so there was nothing a part of me that I believed in. There was no good in me at all. But I began to believe in hope. I began to believe that perhaps if all those other people could do it, then there was a chance that I could as well. Even if I failed their income by 90%, I still would be doing better than if I stayed at my job at JCPenney's. And so nothing against JCPenney's, great company to work for, but I was working at the mall. I'm like a mall clerk. And I would never make a six-figure income without an education and being a female back in 1980 something. Anyway, so, you know, women just didn't make six figures. And so it's more about believing in something. And you said something so powerful, and it was open yourself up. Open yourself up and take that risk in believing that, yes, your life can get better. Believe that, yes, you can make a difference. Believe. Why? Because other people have, and there's no difference between those people and you, the people. We are all human. And the God that has created the heavens and the earth, he plays no favorites. None. He's a respecter of no man. So it's an equal playing field. It's whether or not we're willing to learn, willing to work, willing to try. If we're willing to humble ourselves and ask questions, and are we willing to persist? Are we willing to not give up? Or are we just looking for the easy way that says, as long as I don't have to struggle, then I will succeed? That's a lie. We're never going to succeed. The struggles make us stronger in order to succeed. And that's the bottom line. Joe, thank you so much, and congratulations on your success. Thanks for sharing your insight there. We have Carl Firestone, like that last name, from Winter Garden, Florida. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hey, Dani, thanks for having me on today.
Yeah.
So appreciate it.
So what about you? What do you think the difference is? Like, how do people become successful?
Well, I think that the best way to describe it for us, we've had 5 businesses in the past, Dani, and we've had a lot of mentors like yourself. Thank you. We've learned so much from you. What we see, the common thread between all those folks that have succeeded versus the ones that have not, are the folks who serve best. And you know, like in a tennis game, chances are if you serve best, you're going to win. And that's what it's all about, serving people, finding out what their needs are, finding out if you can accommodate those needs, whether financial, emotional, spiritual, whatever, physical, whatever it is. You know, you have to find out what their needs are and meet that. If they're your customer, you have to know what they're looking for, and then not only meet those expectations, but exceed them. And Just over deliver and under promise is how I've heard it said before, and I just love that.
Yeah.
When you serve people with a humble heart and you don't give up on them and you believe in them even when they don't believe in themselves. I heard you guys talking about belief.
Yeah.
And some magic starts to happen. God reaches down from heaven and rewards that.
Yes.
So that's what it's been for us, just being a good servant.
Yep. Wow. And you've been in business, I see, for 25 years and a millionaire by 37. I think you know what you're talking about.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And I love it, man. You're the first person today that has brought that to the table here about servanthood. And that really, really is so true. People think, and it's really funny, those who are wanting to become successful look at the successful from, unfortunately, eyes of untruth. They look at them and they say, oh, I can't wait to get there because then people will serve me. Oh, little do you know that no, that is not what happens there. Oh, yes, there's some pompous, pig-headed, pride-filled, egotistical maniacs out there that, have somebody working on their... In fact, I was just recently in Israel, Carl, and I was told about a man, a billionaire who had come from India, and my friend who's a tour educator. In fact, we're doing a trip in September to Israel with my Jewish friend. Anyway, he, oh my gosh, this will crack you up. He literally had 2 servant women with him the whole trip. His shoe came untied. All he did was stick his foot out. The woman ran. She gets on her hands and knees. She ties his shoes. They were filing each hand while they were driving, right? They had food in front of him all the time, water in front of him all the time. And ew, really? Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. If that's success that someone wants, I say this all the time. It's like, oh, it would be so awesome it would be so awesome if, I would have a cook, if I would have a chef, if I would do this, if I'd have a full-time housekeeper. But you know what the fact is? I would feel so bad for them. I would be cooking for them. I would be serving them up food. I would be doing their laundry. No, don't touch that. Let me take care of that for you. So I would feel awful. When I stay in a hotel room, I keep it clean because I don't want this poor person to come in here to a disaster and try to figure it out. That, I feel, it makes me feel better as a person to look at who I can serve instead of how I can be served. And that's something I don't know about you, Carl, but it's something I'm always doing a gut check on. Always. Because I don't want to turn into that other guy. I just don't. Look, he was there on that trip without his family.
That's what Jesus said, right, Danny? He said, those who serve the best, those who want to be first have to be last. Right?
Yes.
And, man, that's where the joy is, too. We found, Kathy and I, too, when we serve in our church, when we serve our friends and our family and our community, that's where the reward is,
Yes.
Being served, it's great, and it's fun and good. For you go on vacation to a nice resort or something, and you're getting pampered, and you can fuel up and relax. But, man, the joy comes from service.
It really
does. And that's what we're trying to help people do is get their hearts full of joy and chase after Jesus with all they are. And the only way that you can really truly be successful in our view at least is to serve people well and humbly. And man, the rewards, you'll get more rewards doing that than you will trying to get others to serve you. It's just incredible what can happen.
Carl, I'm not PMSing, but I'm emotional about the way you just said that. That really, it's in the serving where the joy is. It's so true. I challenge who's listening right now. I challenge you. You go serve the homeless and tell me how you feel afterwards. You go serve the orphan and tell me how you feel afterwards. Get in the practice of doing that every day in your office. Get in the practice of doing that in the home. The joy really does come from serving. I don't find joy in being served, honestly, Carl. It bothers me, especially when I go to certain places and, they roll out the red carpet. It really bothers me. I have my assistant who books like speaking engagements. She tells them, please, no, she will not fly first class. No, she does not want to be put into a suite. No, please do not send a limo to pick her up. Please take all that money that you would have spent on those things and please give it to the poor. If you don't know any poor, she's taking care of 500,000 of them every single month. Let's just send the money to those people. Because it does. It bothers me when this, I know that we're supposed to give honor where honor is due, but that doesn't mean serve me like that. You know what I mean? It really bothers me greatly, but
Amen.
You're so right. I've never heard it said this way. You are so right. Oh man, it fills my eyes with tears. That the joy, you want the reward of joy. You can't buy joy, but truly. And if you've never experienced the joy of serving, go do it, especially where you get nothing in return. When you serve the homeless, there's nothing you can get in return. They can't pay you. What's their thank you worth? It's a thank you, just like as the guy at the grocery store that just checked your bags. He said, thank you for shopping at the store. It's different, but there really is joy in serving your spouse. There's joy in serving your kids. There's joy in serving your staff. There's joy in serving your customers. There's joy in serving at church. There's joy serving the poor. That's where the joy is, and I think we could all use more joy. Thanks so much, Carl, for that impact. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
Do you know what's been holding you back? The way you think. It's time to take on a whole new mindset. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job Domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
If anyone lacks wisdom, the best success book ever written says to ask, and he, without finding fault, will give it. All of us need wisdom in order to have success. And I'm not talking about the success the society is challenging you with or selling to you. And they're spending billions of dollars in selling you a definition of success. But here on the Dani Johnson Show, we get underneath the hood, find out the truth, and find out what real true success actually is. And by the way, it's different for everybody. You have to define what success is for you. For some, it's lots of money. For others, it is an awesome marriage, good relationships, having joy in your life, having peace of mind. You have to define it for you, which is why you join us every single day as we challenge you on ways of thinking and strategies on how you can become more successful. Well, one strategy I can give you right now is ask for wisdom. We all need wisdom every single day, and we have to learn to manage our emotions through wisdom. Instead of letting our emotions go crazy and wild, we need to take our emotions and filter through wisdom, because wisdom can help to direct us on what is wise to do with our emotions. Our emotions could fly off the handle and say, forget it, I quit. I don't want to be in business anymore. I don't want to have this staff anymore. It's too hard, and my gosh, Obama is taking so much money from me just from the Obamacare alone. You know, there's a lot of reasons we can quit, but we can't. We can't. But we've got to use wisdom in order to succeed, and I believe that's a really important thing. So, but what do you think it takes to succeed? And again, everyone has a different definition of success, and if you haven't figured yours out yet, it's time to define it. Maybe hearing some of our callers will be able to help you. So over here, we've got John Mayhall from Kerrville, Texas. John, welcome to the show. So what do you think it takes in order to succeed?
Well, personally, what I think is if you're an employee, it doesn't matter if you're a business owner or not. If you're an employee, the main thing I think is to, look at the business like it would be your own.
Yes.
So you're doing the work. It's not just your company name out there. It's also your name.
Yep.
It's associated with it. Whether it's out in the field or out of an office, it's not going to matter.
Yep.
Doing the work like it would be your own business. That's how, the best way to advertise is by word of mouth.
Yep.
It says, oh, this person's good. They treated me well, did a really good job. Generally, that's who they're going to go to before they go to somebody who pays for, people to write a review for them.
Yep. And you know what, John, on that note, in our last First Steps to Success that we were in Los Angeles, I really camped out on this. And it's incredible the different facets that that change when somebody takes ownership, whether the employee or they're the owner. But, it changes the way maybe you would dress. If you're an employee and you acted like you owned this business, well, you represent that brand everywhere you go. You represent that brand when you're at H-E-B, right on 27, right? You represent that brand when you're driving in your car. You represent that brand on how you're acting on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Pinterest. You act out that brand when you're at the barbecue this weekend talking to your family about how the work week went. And if that employee does not have ownership, meaning they do not take ownership over it, they'll say stupid things like, oh gosh, I'm glad the week is over. Give me my Bud Light. No, we're always advertising our business to everybody, everywhere we go. And so if it's, it was dreadful. I can't stand my employees. I can't stand my coworkers. Oh, and that stupid receptionist, she just won't fix this, that, and the other thing. And I can't stand my boss. That guy is missing an opportunity to have great success for himself simply by his mouth not realizing that he has a part in this business. He has ownership in this thing. And how we act on the clock and off the clock determines whether or not we succeed. Do you agree with that, John?
For a few years, what they taught me was they told us when we first got there, they said leadership. And on one of the signs at fourth inning, they have leadership written out, and it stands for loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage.
Wow.
All of those go towards any job that you do, whether it's digging a ditch or helping somebody at the grocery store or anything you do. If you apply those to what you're doing, it's going to show and it's going to pay off, and it's going to let people know that you have you enjoy what you're doing. You don't have to enjoy what you're doing,
right.
But to put these in as up front right away.
Yep.
It's going to shine on the business and you as a person individually.
And it's going to bring the joy into what you're doing.
Exactly.
Joy is not found in what you do, it's how you approach it. Just like Carl, who had called in a little bit earlier, he became a millionaire by 37. He's been in business for 25 years. He's talking about service, and that was one of the steps that you were just given there. So true, so powerful. And there's joy in serving people. There's joy in serving the public. There's joy in serving your spouse, your kids, your everything that you do. And so it's really important. And that's what, and this is what's so sad, John, is, and I'm sure as you've seen on the however many years you've been on the planet, so many people cheat themselves because of a wrong attitude and a wrong mindset about work. And so you were saying the guy that digs ditches. What determines the guy that continues to dig ditches or the guy that owns the business that hires people that dig ditches is nothing but a mindset. That's it.
Right.
Nothing but a mindset. So
if you sit there and think that, well, I'm only going to be digging ditches the rest of my life, well, that's where you're going to be for the rest of your life. So,
yep.
What you think goes a long way versus your actions.
Yep. Yeah. Well, what you think, your actions follow is the reality. That's 100% of our life is completely based on what we think, how we think about it, and then what we say about it. John, thanks so much. That's awesome contribution to the show. We appreciate you. We've got Linda on line 2 from Castle Rock, Colorado. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, Dani.
So what about you? What is your take on this topic of success and what it actually really takes?
Well, I agree with everybody that's been talking. I think service is huge, and but I think that God gives us a dream, and that's what we're creative people and we're artists. So our business is creativity. Mm-hmm. So the basis of everything comes from the creativity and the dreams that He gives us. Mm-hmm. And then we can just take off from there, and it becomes a focus and a discipline, yep. and becomes part of our character,
yep.
and then helping other people.
Yep.
In our business, we have been able to auction art and give huge amounts of money to help people.
Wow.
And rather than just donating or something like that. But it's just it's a matter of, for us to, just make our gifts and talents that God gives us. It's the parable of the talents, where we have been given so much, and we can give back with whatever He has given us, even
multiplied back. Yeah. You know what, Linda, there's something that you said, so much of what you said is so awesome, but I want to point this one thing out. You said, we've got these gifts and talents, but then we have to make something of it. And you said, and then you take off from there. And this is the picture that I had. It's we have to take off from there. It's not it takes off from there. It is a business. A business is dead without the person behind it. We have to take off from there. We have to get focused. We have to be determined. We have to be disciplined. We have to have self-control and not get unfocused. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Don't go away. The next segment might just change your life.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your freedom, your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
No more fear, no more shame, no more excuses. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
You need a recipe. You need a recipe if you're going to succeed. I've got one for you. First Steps to Wealth. It's our gift to you. If this is your first time joining the show, we would love to give it to you for free. First Steps to Wealth. Call right now and get your copy. 866-760-8255. 866-760-8255. I'm going to cover up the face. First Steps to Wealth. It's a story of how I went from homeless to millions, now multimillionaire who gives 100% of the profits, and I take no salary, to taking care of the poor. All the proceeds from this book will go straight to building homes for the extreme poor. And when I say extreme poor, I mean extreme poor. So this book is going to help you annihilate your debt. It's going to help you not only increase your income, but how to keep that money and start to get that money growing for you, mend up some of the relationships in your life and kind of shore up some of the stress and bring more peace into your everyday life. That is First Steps to Wealth. Speaking of poor, friend, I got to tell you something. Here's the reality. You don't live poor. Oh, I know you think you do, just as I thought I did when I was growing up. But listen, in this country and in many other Western civilized countries, no, poor is not poor. Real poor is like what Maria and Pablo live like. They basically went, could you imagine? I mean, think about this. Could you imagine having to go and grab just a bunch of scrap wood, scrap metal, and put it together and try to form a dwelling that you and your children are going to live out of? Imagine having a bathroom and no running water, no water at all, not anywhere on your property. Imagine not even having a kitchen. Imagine having to use coal to burn inside of this little dwelling, and your family is inhaling it. And because you've not been educated, you don't know that you're actually killing your children and your spouse and yourself from the harmful toxins that are floating around in the house. Imagine every day wondering what you're going to feed the kids and actually which kids are going to eat. That's not our reality, is it? But it is the reality of Audelis and Pablo and Maria and 1,000 other families that you and I are going to help. Listen, if you decided not to go to Starbucks today, but instead give that $5 for that venti, caramel macchiato that you were going to get, pull out right now, back up. I know you're in the drive-thru. Back up, back out of McDonald's, take the money that you were going to spend on that and give it to make a difference. Yes, your $5 can make a huge difference. $10, $100. You might have 1,000. You might have 10,000 that you can use to help build homes for the extreme poor. It only costs $5,200 to build them a brand new home. And we're going to do that. We're going to build 1,000 families a brand new home in a safe area with running water, electricity. We're also going to put them in business and teach them how to make money so that we can kill the poverty that's in this one particular area that needs it to be gone now and forever. Go to kingsransom.org. Again, that's kingsransom.org. Or you can call this phone number, 888-291-7123. Again, that's 888-291-7123. That's kingsransom.org. or go call the phone number. And this is for Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. Okay, it's building homes. So, hey, I just heard about building homes. I want to help what I can. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with you today. Come on over to Facebook and tell us how you've enjoyed the show. God bless you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
If you've given up hope for your nation, your family, or even your own life, then this show is for you. It's the Dani Johnson Show.
Yeah, I remember being homeless and broke and broken in every way and being overloaded with financial pressure, the pressure that I was a failure, the social pressure, everything that I felt like was crashing down on top of me. And at the same time, I felt so alone until I learned the strategies of first steps to success. You have the chance, my friend, to annihilate all of your debt. Think about that. You have the chance to grow your income through your current career or even learning to start a brand new business